Hard. Exciting.
Crazy.
Sweet.
Interesting.
Hard.
Entertaining. Fun.
Insane.
Kinky.
I think the key to making any class interesting is I've got to be interested in the topic. So I try to teach things that I'm personally interested in and that I'm enthusiastic about, because energy and enthusiasm are the way I try and keep people involved in what's going on.
He's patriotic.
The Americans! That's right, it was us! It's the Americans that invented text! And you better believe it, it's the American National Standards Institute!
Okay, so growing up in the Midwest, it's flat there. So if you're from New England, you have to just think of flat. Okay, it's corn, occasionally a tree, a silo, cows. Cows are good for tipping. Cornfields are good for detasseling corn. It's an exciting thing to do when you're in the Midwest. So you can see why that perhaps math and science were exciting to me, because everything else was very flat. And I found at MIT that for the first time in my life, there were a bunch of really, really smart people hanging around. And I actually had to crack the books, which was a bit of a shock to my system. But I did, and I managed to survive, and I managed to fail only one exam. And when I graduated, I actually wasn't old enough to drink, and I was out entertaining clients, which was sort of embarrassing at the time. So I would have to, because by the time, you know, you drank a lot when you were entertaining clients. So I spent most of my time drinking Coke and explaining why that I wasn't drinking other things. So I spent some time doing fancy military things, some of which I can't talk about still. It was pretty interesting technology, but it was also dealing with the government, which is really, really painful.
None of this UN crap! We did it! We own it! It's ours! And the American National Standards Institute invented the American Standard for Information Interchange, okay, known as ASCII. A, America! All right? It's ours!
So, time to either start another company or do something different. And, you know, starting another company really didn't appeal a lot to do that again. So I decided I'd do what I'd really wanted to do all along, which was teach. And I called my mother and said, Mom, you're never going to believe this. I'm going to go teach. And she said, no, I expected you to do that because I have a paper that I saved from your 9th grade English teacher that said your career objective was to become a teacher. So yet again, my mother knew what I was going to do before I was doing it. Let this be a lesson to you and your mothers. All right, so where was I going to teach? I decided to substitute teach. Westwood was looking for substitute teachers, and I subbed at Westwood for a year, and I had a great time. And to make a long story short, I ended up in the math department the very next year, and now I teach math and science, computer science, engineering, and I have a ball every day. And I would never, ever, ever go back and do speech recognition again because it's too much fun hanging around all these teenagers.
And even in deference to the girly men at the UN, we decided that we wouldn't even call it English anymore. We just call it basic Latin, because after all, there's a Latinate language. It uses the same characters as Latin does. So we'll, you know.
And to be honest, I was a bit obstreperous in high school. I think I was only suspended officially twice. Once was due to a certain incident with an English teacher, and the other was due to a certain incident with student council. And no, there was the third time, which was related to the senior prank. But we won't go into details of that because I did manage to escape intact and headed out west, east. We headed from the Midwest to the east to go to school at MIT.